Stop worrying and start living. This book may change the whole course of your life, showing you how to break the worry habit, teaching you mental attitudes that will lead to inner security and happiness. Dale Carnegie, author of How to Win Friends and Influence People. Content: 16 ways in which this book will help you. Preface: how this book was written and why. Part 1: fundamental facts you should know about worry. Number 1: lives in day-tight compartment. Number 2: a magic formula for solving worry situation. Number 3: what worry man may do to you. Part 2: basic techniques in analyzing worry. Number 4: how to analyze and solve worry problems. Number 5: how to eliminate 50% of your business worries. 9 suggestion on how to get the most out of these books. Part 3: how to break the worry habit before it breaks you. Number 6: crowd how to crowd worry out of your mind. Number 7: don't let the Beatles get you down. Number 8: a law that will outlay many of your worries. Number 9: cooperate with the inevitable. Number 10: put a stop loss order on your worries. Number 11: don't try to sawdust. Part 4: 7 ways to cultivate a mental attitude that will bring you peace and happiness. Number 12: 8 words that can transform your life. Number 13: the high cost of getting even. Number 14: if you do this, you will never worry about ingratitude. Number 15: would you take $1 million for what you have? Number 16: find yourself and be yourself. Remember, there is no one else on earth like you. Number 17: if you have a lemon, make a lemonade. Number 18: how to cure melancholy in 14 days. Part 5: the golden rule for conquering worry. Number 19: how my mother and father conquer worry. Part 6: how to keep from worrying about criticism. Number 20: remember that no one ever kicks a dead dog. Number 21: do this and criticism can hurt you. Number 22: Fool Things I Have Done. Part 7: 6 Ways to Prevent Fatigue and Worry and Keep Your Energy and Spirits High. Number 23: How to Add 1 hour a day to your waking life. Number 24: What makes you tired and what you can do about it. About the housewife can avoid fatigue and keep looking young. Number 26: 4 good working habits that will help prevent fatigue and worry. Number 27: how to banish the boredom that produce fatigue, worry, and resentment. Number 28: how to keep from worrying about insomnia. Part 8: how to find the kind of work in which you may be happy and successful. Number 29: the major decision of your life. Part 9: how to lessen your financial worries. Number 30: 70% of all your worries. Part 10: how I can cure worry. 32 true stories. 6 major troubles hit me all at once by C.I. Blackwood. I can turn myself into a shouting optimist within an hour by Roger W. Bobson. How I got rid of an inferiority complex by Elmer Thomas. I live in the garden of Allah by R.V.C. Bodley. 5 methods I used to banish worry by Professor William Leon Phillips. I stood yesterday. I can stand today by Dorothy Dix. I did not accept to live to see the dawn by J.C. Penney. I go to the gym to punch the bag or take a hike outdoor by Colonel Eddie Egan. I was the worrying wreck from Virginia Tech by Jim Bartsell. I have lived by this sentence by Dr. Joseph Cizo. I hit bottom and survived by Thad Erickson. I used to be one of the world's biggest jackass by Percy H. Whiting. I have always tried to keep my line of supplies open by Gene Autry. I heard a voice in India by E. Stanley Jones when the sheriff came in my front door by Homer Crow. The toughest opponent I ever fought was very by Jack Dempsey. I prayed to God to keep me out of an orphan home by Kathleen Halter. I was acting like a historical woman by Cameron Ship. I learned to stop worrying by watching my wife wash dishes by Rafe William Wood. I found the answer Keep Busy by Del Hughes. Time Solve a Lot of Things by Louis T. Montaigne Jr. I was warned not to try to speak or to move even a finger by Joseph L. Ryan. I am a great dismisser by Ordy Tid. If I had not stopped worrying, I would have been in my grave long ago by Connie Mack. One at a Time, Gentleman at a Time by John Homer Miller. I now look for the green light by Joseph M. Cotter. How John D. Rockefeller lived on borrowed time for 45 years. Reading a book on sex prevented my marriage from going on the rocks by BRW. I was committing slow suicide because I didn't know how to relax by Paul Sampson. A real miracle happened to me by Mrs. John Berger. Setbacks by Frank Molnar. I was so worried I didn't eat a bite of solid food for 18 days by Catherine Holcomb Farmer. 16 ways in which this book will help you. 16 ways in which this book will help you. Give you a number of practical tested formula for solving worry situation. Number 2, show you how to eliminate 50% of your business worries immediately. Number 3, bring you 7 ways to cultivate a mental attitude that will bring you peace and happiness. Number 4, show you how to lessen financial worries. Number 5, explain a law that will outlay many of your worries. Number 6 tells you how to turn criticism to your advantage. Number 7, show how the housewife can avoid the fatigue and keep looking young. Number 8 gives 4 working habits that will help prevent fatigue and worry. Number 8, give 4 working number 8, give 4 working habits that will help prevent fatigue and worry. Number 9, tell you how to add 1 hour a day to your working life. Number 10, show you how to avoid emotional upset. Number 11, give you the stories of scores of everybody, men and women, who tells you in their own words how they stopped worrying and started living. Number 12, give you Alfred Adler prescription for curing melancholic in 14 days. Number 13, give you a 21 words that enable the world famous physician Sir William Osier to banish worry. Number 14, explain the 3 magic steps that will Willis H. Carrier, founder of the air conditioning industry, used to conquer worry. Number 15, show you how to use that William James called the Sovereign cure for worry. Number 16, give you detail of how many famous men conquered worry. Men like Arthur Hayes, Sulberger, published of the New York Times, Herbert E. Hawks, former dean of the Columbia University, Audit had chairman of the board of the Higher Education New York City, Jack Dempsey, Connie Mack, Roger W. Babson, Admiral Byrd, Henry Ford, Gene Autry, J.C. Penney, and John D. Rockefeller. Preface: how this book was written and why. 35 years ago, I was one of the unhappiest lad in New York. I was selling motor trucks for a living. I didn't know what made a motor truck run. That wasn't all. I didn't want to know. I despised my job. I despised living in a cheap furnished room on West 56th Street, a room infested with cockroaches. I still remember that I had a bunch of neckties hanging on the walls, and when I reached out of a morning to get a fresh necktie, the cockroaches scattered in all directions. I despise having to eat in cheap, dirty restaurant that were also probably infested with cockroaches. I came home to my lonely room each night with a sick headache, a headache breath, and fed by disappointment, worry, bitterness, and rebellion. I was rebelling because the dreams I had nourished back in my college days had turned into nightmares. Yes, this was life. Was this the vital adventure to which I had looked forward so eagerly? Was this all life would ever mean to me, working at a job I despise, living with cockroaches, eating wild food, and with no hope for the future? I longed for leisure to read and to write the book I had dreamed of writing back in my college days. I knew I had everything to gain and nothing to lose by giving up the job I despised. I wasn't interested in making a lot of money, but I was interested in making a lot of living. In short, I had come to the Rubicon to that moment of decision which faces most young people when they start out in life. So I made my decision, and that decision completely altered my future. It has made the last 35 years happy and rewarding beyond my most utopian inspiration. My decision was this: I would give up the work I loved, and since I had spent 4 years studying in the state teacher college at Warrensburg, Missouri, preparing to teach, I would make my living teaching adult classes in night schools. Then I would have my days free to read books, prepare lectures, writing novels and short stories. I wanted to live to write and write to live. What subjects should I teach to adults at night? As I looked back and evaluated my own college training, I saw that the training and experience I had had in public speaking had been of more practical value to me in business and in life than everything else I had studied in college all put together. Why? Because it had wiped out my timidity and lack of confidence and giving me the courage and assurance to deal with people. It has also made clear the leadership usually gravitates to the man who can get up and say what he thinks. I applied for a position teaching public speaking in the night extension courses both at Columbia University and New York University, but these universities decided they could struggle along somehow without my help. I was disappointed then, but I now thank God that they did turn me down because I started teaching in YMCA night school where I had to show concrete results and show them quickly what a challenge that was. These adults didn't come to my classes because they wanted college credits or social prestige. They come for one reason only: they wanted to solve their problem. They wanted to be able to stand up on their own feet and say a few words at a business meeting without fainting from fright. Salesmen wanted to be able to call on a tough customer without having to walk around the block 3 times to get up courage. They wanted to develop poise and self confidence. They wanted to get ahead in business. They wanted to have more money for their families. And since they were paying their tuitions on an installment basis, and they stopped paying if they didn't get result, and since I was being paid not the salary but the percentage of the profit, I had to be practical if I wanted to eat. I felt at the time that I was teaching under handicap, but I realize now that I was getting priceless training. I had to motivate my student. I had to help them solve their problems. I had to make each session so inspiring that they wanted to continue coming. It was exciting work. I love it. I was astounded at how quickly this business man developed self-confidence and how quickly many of them secure promotions and increase pay. The classes were succeeding far beyond my most optimistic hopes. Within seasons, the YMCA, which had refused to pay me $5 a night in salary, were paying me $30 a night on a percentage basis. At first, I thought only public speaking, but as the year went by, I saw that these adults also needed the ability to win friends and influence people. Since I couldn't find an adequate textbook on human relation, I wrote one myself. No, it wasn't written in the usual way. It grew and evolved out of the experience of the adult in these classes. I call it How to Win Friends and Influence People. Since it was written solely as a textbook for my own adult classes, and since I had written four other books that no one had ever heard of, I never dreamed that it would have a large sale. I am probably one of the most astonished author now living. As the year went by, I realized that another one of the biggest problem of these adults was worry. A large majority of my students were businessmen, executive, sales engineers, accountants, a cross section of all the trades and professions, and most of them had problems. There were women in the class, business women and housewives. They too had problems. Clearly, what I needed was a textbook on how to conquer worry. So again, I tried to find one. I went to New York, Great Public Library at Fifth Avenue and 42nd Street, and discovered to my astonish that this library had only 22 books listed under the title Worry. I also noticed to my amusement that it had 189 books listed under worms, almost nine times as many books about worms as about worry. Astounding, isn't it? Since worry is the one of the biggest problem facing mankind, you would think, wouldn't you, that every high school and college in the land would give you course on how to stop worrying. Yet, if there is even one course on that subject in any college in the land, I have never heard of it. No wonder David Seabury said in his book How to Worry Successfully, we come to maturity with as little preparation for the pressure of experience as a bookworm asked to do a ballot. The result, more than half of our hospital beds are occupied by people with nervous and emotional troubles. I look over those 22 books on worry reposing on the shelf of the New York Public Library. In addition, I purchased all the books on worry I could find, yet I couldn't discover even one that I could use as a text in my course for adults. So I resolved to write one myself. I began preparing myself to write this book 7 years ago. How by reading that the philosopher of all ages have said about worry. I also read hundreds of biographies all the way from Confucius to Churchill. I also interview sources of prominent people in many walk of life, such as Jack Dempsey, General Umar Bradley, General Mark Clark, Henry Ford, Eleanor Roosevelt, and Dorothy Dix. But that was only a beginning. I also did something else that was far more important than the interview and the reading. I worked for 5 years in a laboratory for conquering worry, a laboratory conducted in our own adult classes. As far as I know, it is the first and the only laboratory of its kind in the world. This is what we did. We give students to set rules on how to stop worrying and ask them to apply these rules in their own life and then talk to the class on the result they had obtained. Others reported on technique they had used in the past. As a result of this experience, I presume I have listened to more talk on how I conquer worrying than has any other individual who ever walked this earth. In addition, I read hundreds of other talk on how I conquer worry, talk that were sent to me by mail, talks that had won prizes in art classes that are held in more than 170 cities throughout the United States and Canada. So this book didn't come out of an ivory tower either. Is it an academic preachment on how worry might be conquered? Instead, I have tried to write a fast moving, concise, documented report on how worry has been conquered by thousands of adults. One thing is certain, this book is practical. You can set by your teeth in it. I am happy to say that you won't find in this book stories about an imaginary Mr. B or a Wagyu Mary and John whom no one can identify, except in a few rare cases. This book names and gives its street addresses. It is authentic, it is documented, it is vouched for and certified. Science, said the French philosopher Valery, is a collection of successful recipes. This is what this book is: collection of successful and time-tested recipes to rid our lives of worries. However, let me warn you, you won't find anything new in it, but you will find much that is not generally applied. And when it comes to that, you and I don't need to be told anything new. We already know enough to lead perfect life. We have all read the golden rules and the sermons on the mount. Our trouble is not ignorance but inaction. The purpose of this book is to restate, illustrate, streamline, air condition, and glorify a lot of ancient and basic truth and kick you in the shins and make you to do something about applying them. You didn't pick up this book to read about how it was written. You are looking for action. All right, let's go. Please read the first 44 pages of this book, and if by that time you don't feel that you have acquired a new power and a new inspiration to stop worrying, enjoy life, then toss this book into the dustbin. It is no good for you. Dale Carnegie.